angry black man for bringing the championship home. So congratulations there, sir. It's about time that you did something for your team. But so now we'll get back to the chat room in just a moment, and then I'll actually announce when you can call in too, because we'll do a call in portion if you want to call in, and then that way we can, knock those out. So we're going to get into a little bit of football news. The combine is coming up. We got some offseason in the NFL, offseason moves that happen, right around this time, because this is a pattern. This was the NFL do, to try and keep themselves relevant and stay in the spotlight. You talk about some offseason moves, you talk about some rules, you talk about the combine. Next thing you know, the draft is around. And then next thing you know, we got OTAs and all that stuff. And then preseason to start. And we all pumped up again for it. So, first and foremost, what we're going to talk about is, I almost said St. Louis, but the LA Rams. The LA Rams made a move last week in trading for Marcus Peters from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I know, Tiffany PNP is out there. She's a Chiefs fan. She's probably not liking this right now, but it is what it is. It happened. So the Rams are getting Marcus Peters, and this is a big move I see for the Rams. They gave up 2 draft picks, not big. They gave up a second round, and I want to say a 4th round also for Marcus Peters. But the talent that they are getting back, Marcus Peters should be going for a first round, maybe 2 first round picks, But the thing about Peters is this whole quote unquote character issue. He has had some issues with coaches, reportedly. He has had issues with the refs on field. We saw how he got into it during the Chiefs and Raiders game, and Marshawn Lynch is running out there, to get in between, what's going on, with Marcus Peters and everything. So, the question really is this worth it? Is it worth it? And does this move really set the LA Rams up to be Super Bowl contenders, at this point? And I don't know I'm not going to go out and say it makes them Super Bowl contenders, because they had a pretty good team and a pretty good defense without him. But definitely adding him to the mix definitely makes this team dangerous. I think Marcus Peters only been in the league 4 years. He got 19 interceptions. That is not easy, my friend. That is not easy at all to do, to get any type of interceptions in the NFL, let alone 19 in your first few years. So the guy is definitely someone that balls out. Is it going to be worth it? Sean McVay, is taking a big risk, getting this guy. But I look at it like this, because I'm looking at their roster. And actually, I'm looking at their rosters right now as I'm talking to you. And obviously, Marcus Peters is going to start on one side. Trumaine Johnson, who is not just an ordinary Joe himself, is going to be on the opposite side. So I'm not going to say Trumaine Johnson is a lockdown corner, but he's very, very good. Marcus Peters, very, very good. And you got that front 7, and they should be pairing Aaron McDonald at this point. And that pass rush, I think the defense is locked up. It's really on the offense side. You got Gurley. He had an awesome year. That's definitely a plus. Jared Goff, a plus. I'm not necessarily sold on the wide receivers. Robert Woods and Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is actually a free agent, but they did pretty well, in Sean McVay's system. And I see them getting better, but I don't know how much better, I would like to say, But this move, what I think it does, it sets a tone for what this team is going to be going into 2018. The other thing I think, when I think about this whole relationship between Sean McVay and Marcus Peters, because they said the Chiefs basically told all 31 teams that Marcus Peters was available, up for trade. and only 3 contacted the Chiefs and said that they want to actually make a legitimate offer, for the guy. But I look at this relationship, and if you remember this back in the 90s, there was, and this is basketball, there was a gentleman by the name of Dennis Rodman. And he had been to some other teams, and they said controlling him was the problem. Character issues was the problem. So he goes to Chicago, gets with Phil Jackson, don't get in any trouble. Really don't have, I guess too much going on that brought too much attention to the Bulls. And I just remember they were just talking about, hey, Phil was just like, if you're going to give me 15 rebounds a night, 16, 17 rebounds a night, and you want to go out to Vegas, party, come back and meet us later on. And I think sometimes Phil with little missed practices, at this point, he managed Rodman obviously different than anyone else, but he managed him the way that he needed to manage him to get what he needed to get. And that could be this whole thing with Sean McVay and Marcus Peters. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be letting Marcus Peters just go off, anywhere and everywhere. But I think he's going to be able to relate to Marcus Peters and get Marcus Peters to be like, you know what? When I do something, man, whatever it is, throwing a flag, throwing the ref's flag and all this stuff, I don't need to do all that, And the change of scenery is sometimes different. And they got a big opportunity, to really do some good things here in LA for the Rams. And I think he will know that. And you got to have guys that's going to be in the locker room also to be able to police that. And I think they do have the guys to do that. But, does it make them contenders? It makes them a lot closer. I don't know. I'm not ready to say contenders yet. Jared Goff had a good year, but there's still room for improvement, and we'll see with these wide receivers as far as like what they're going to do, So you listen to the Wait a Minute show with your man, Jelani JB Bodie. We are talking tonight, NCAA, NFL, and NBA as well, because tonight's show is This Thing is Bigger Than Nino Brown. So I appreciate you for dropping in with me, and we're going to stay in football as well, because now we got some stuff. We'll talk about some rules a little bit later, but we got another rule that is up in the air right now. And the NFL, remember I told you they know how to stay relevant during the offseason. Now the NFL wants to bring up, they're saying that, you know what? That Dez Bryant catch or pass against the Green Bay Packers, that Calvin Johnson pass against the Chicago Bears, it might have actually been a catch. Really? After all this? So basically NFL is going to review this rule about the catch rule. And it's something that definitely needed to be, reviewed. It's something that needed to be revisited. And it's something that needs to be done by it. And in this whole thing where it really exploded, and it's amazing, it's been 8 years, but 2010 with Calvin Johnson, of course, I was just telling you about that when they were playing the Bears. So they're saying that per the score, they're saying the committee is working on, and this is the NFL competition committee, said the committee is working on clarifying the league's heavily scrutinized catch rule, and in doing so, ready to admit a couple mistakes. New York Giants owner John Mara said that the room is in agreement that those two catches, Calvin Johnson and Dez Bryant in particular, should have stood, and this is according to ESPN's Kevin Seifert. And we all knew that. That's the frustrating part. We knew the obvious. We knew it was a catch. As much as I don't like the Cowboys, football, whatever, because I said it was karma for the way that they beat the Lions in that previous playoff game, but it was a catch. Calvin Johnson, it was a catch. Tiffany PNP is saying Safarian Jenkins had a catch against the Patriots. Yes, it was a catch. Those were catches. Jesse James against the Patriots, when he caught the ball and he put it across the end zone, that was a catch. We all know that. We just need to get it across the board. And the problem, to me, in my humble opinion, the problem really was that we left it up to interpretation. We left it up to a ref in one game would look at it one way versus a ref in another game. There has to be some type of uniform, because every catch is not the same. I know that. But there has to be some type of foundation. There has to be the whole thing about, did he complete the process? Did he survive the ground? And it's so many variables to a catch, and especially around the end zone or inside the end zone, that is not that. It is very simple when it comes to running the ball. You get the ball, if your knee touches the ground, and it's over. The play is over, but with a catch, you got all these other, what had happened was, if this happened, if he was, looking, if he made a football move, and it's just like, that's open to anybody, what they determine a football move is. To me, there's a lot, of course, we all know that a football move, they say, is considered taking 2 steps. Well, that's not necessarily, a football move could be if a guy catches the ball with his back to the first down marker and another guy wraps him up, but he drives his legs into the ground to push himself towards the first down marker. To me, that is a football move, So I just think it needs to just be simplified. I think we would be satisfied if it was just simple. Because now the way it is, everyone is so frustrated after everything is done. Because the ref calls it not a catch or calls it a catch. Then it's up for review. The announcer is going through the replay. He's saying one thing or she's saying another thing. And they're saying, well, you know what? It's not going to be a catch. And then they talk to, a on-site referee, and the referee is saying one thing. And then they go to New York, and then they come back from New York. And then it's totally opposite what the ruling was and what people were saying on the TV show and on the sports show. And now you got this ref out here giving a 4-page letter like they Aaliyah explaining what the whole thing was. And at that point, you just like, forget it. Because no one knows what a catch is. So that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to what is a catch. And then just stick to that and go from there. And I think everybody will be fine with anything like that. But all this other stuff, that you have to, have your checks and balances in order and all this stuff for it to be a catch, that's just too much. It's a simple thing. Catch the ball. Obviously there are, points in a catch where you're just like, all right, it's probably not a catch. But I think with the slow-mo, when they slow it down and they do frame by frame, that's not realistic, because you can actually go from frame by frame and just say, you know what? The ball moved. It's always going to move. I mean, you're catching a moving object. So it's always going to move. It's never going to just be, stationary, on it. But the good thing is that they are going to basically at least talk about it. Because it's getting crazy, We had some possible controversial calls, in the Super Bowl. We've had it. People just listed it on here about stuff against the Patriots and everything. It shouldn't be anything like that. It seemed like week in and week out that we're talking about what was a catch, what wasn't a catch, and especially when you get into the end zone. It's already hard enough. Let's just make it simple. Very, very simple. If we can do that, we'll be on to the road of success. And the game is not about a catch or not a catch. It's about the game. Now, we're going to move into some of the NBA news. And Boogie Cousins is done for the season. We know that. The Pelicans, which I sincerely thought that their season was going to pretty much be over. Like they were going to take